Fire Emblem 3 Houses Skill Tier List 2020. What have we learned? What do we know? Let's find out. All right, so I'm going to be rating all the different skills. The year is 2020. That is the current year. So maybe we've learned some things throughout the metagame as the game has evolved since release. Maybe we haven't. These are like obviously my opinion. Some of these I don't recognize. I know this is the dancer thing. I don't know what the name of it is, so I'll have like the thing off to the side so I can like evaluate it. So I've beaten the game a few times on maddening. I'm currently doing a maddening challenge where I don't do any auxiliary battles or paralogs, and also no monastery unless it's the only option. And I'm halfway through it, so that's some background about me. All right, so let's jump in. Okay, so movement +1. This is one I definitely know. Movement +1. Definitely not god tier. I'd say it's viable. It depends on who's running it. Overall, more movement is good, but it depends on why you want it. If you're just temporarily using it to extend your movement to one-shot a boss, or if you just want to make a mobile unit even more mobile, it's tied to horse. So if you get this on a paladin, you're looking at 9 movement, which is pretty crazy. And then if you put a march ring on that, that's 10 movement. So if you're already going to be speccing into horse, it can be good to run, but generally you want something else. But I would say it's viable. Like, you can run it and it's good. It's not the worst thing. So this is a void +10. I believe this is on like Pegasus and Falcon Knight. I would say this is probably god tier because Falcon Knight and Pegasus Knight are really good, and a void is really good, and you get this for free just by having it as the class. So you can't go wrong with having a void. You can make a void tanks very easily with high speed, even in maddening. So this combined with specific abilities is very good. And because you always get it, you don't have to use a slot. It's just like a built-in default. So that's definitely good. All right, so this is Axe Crit +10. This is gained from certain classes. Warrior gets it. You also get it from tiering up your Axe to S tier, I believe. I would say this is very viable. Just like the crit in general, like bow crit is good, fist crit is good. I would say all of these. Anything, I would say this is maybe not as good. I feel like this doesn't crit as often. I feel like these could be fine. Like this plus Wadao plus, Killer Lance plus. There's another spear I think that has higher. This combos well with War Master because they get crit +20. So you can make some pretty good crit builds with these. So these are pretty good. This is, I believe, defense +2. I'm going to confirm that. I have the thing open over here just to confirm. Because most of these I know and recognize, but some of them I don't. Just put in defense. Just going to go through these really quick. I have it open just so I know. Yeah, defense +2 from soldier. So defense +2. I wouldn't even say it's viable. I'd say it's just decent. Like, you just equip this. Honestly, you shouldn't. Actually, I guess I'll probably change my mind. I think this is bad. The reason I think this is bad is because you're either going to get strength +2 from fighter, magic +2 from monk, defense +2 from soldier, or speed +2 from myrmidon. So this is like the odd one out. This is like clearly the worst. Magic +2 on a mage, you want that. It increases like your spell range for physic and your damage and all this shit. Strength +2 you want on any physical. You either want speed or strength +2, or both. Both are much better. So this is kind of the odd one out. Defense is useful to some degree, but most tanking is done based on health and speed rather than defense. And your defense helps you tank, but you're better off having better speed or better damage. All right, so magic +2. I would say this is just very viable. I wouldn't say it's god tier because it's just +2 magic, so it just helps. It's just really good. Resistance +2 from Lord. This one's kind of weird. I'm going to say this is bad because you're basically throwing out a better ability. Speed +2, very viable. Speed is extremely useful. Helps you avoid, helps you double, helps you avoid being doubled. This is like one of the critical skills in the game, I think. Strength +2, I would say very viable as well. It's just really good, more damage. It can generally be temporary depending on your build. You might drop it for something better, so it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so we have Brawl of Void from War Monk and War Cleric. So if you're going to run a Brawler, I would say this is very viable. Dodging things is good. So having just like passive 20 avoid while punching things to death on a class that has poor mobility and no canto is probably the way to go, because you're going to be surrounded by enemies often and, you know, vulnerable to counterattacks and enemy mounted units and flyers. So you would want to be running this if you're going to be running a brawling build. Next we have, I'm guessing this is Dark Magic Avoid, plus 20. Like based on the symbol, that's what it should be. So only Sylvain can get this, so that's interesting. So because only Sylvain can get this, that's why I haven't seen this, because I haven't made Sylvain a knight before. I would say this is bad. Sylvain generally wants to be a physical unit. So he doesn't have exceptional or good magic growth. He has better growths for like killing things with a weapon. Okay, so White Magic Avoid plus 20, Byleth and Dorothea. I would say this is viable. It's not... Let me just make sure I'm recording there. There we go. It's not the worst ability, but it's not the best either. Byleth generally isn't going to be hitting things with white magic. You can use it to temporarily tank, like equip heal or something to tank, like a void tank. So it's like circumstantial, and the fact that you can only get it on 2 characters is also even more circumstantial. So I would say that's, you know, a very, very situational skill that it has like a use case, but it's, you know, it's not the best. All right, Sword Avoid plus 20, win the White Heron Cup. So whoever your dancer is gets this. I would say this is God tier. Between these two, if you have this on like a Pegasus or a Falcon Knight or something, you can have absurd dodge without even thinking about it if you don't plan on running a dancer, which I never do, so I always just run these two. Like I just run this on a Falcon Knight, and then it never gets hit for the rest of the game, basically. So I'd say that's God tier. It's pretty broken. All right, so this is crit plus 20 on War Master, I believe. Let me just find it really quick. Just scroll down. They're all in like sections, so War Master. Yeah, crit plus 20 on War Master. This is like a passive ability you get from speccing into War Master. War Master, it seems like it is a good class. I haven't run it personally, but just based on the fact that it seems to get all this avoid and all this crit, and you have ×4 chances to hit, I would say is probably very viable, assuming you're running a War Master. So, and there's like a few classes that can do that well. So if you're doing that, it's probably fine. I believe this is hit plus 20, which is Ignat's passive plus Archer Mastery. So we'll just kind of find that really quick. Yeah, Watchful Eye for Ignat's, and then also the Archer Mastery. So this is, I would say this is very viable. I wouldn't say it's God tier because it just makes it so you're a little bit more accurate, and not, like most enemies don't have like really good avoidance. So like some do, and the ones that do, it's good against those, but it definitely helps archers hit at further ranges. So I'd just say it's very viable. Dex plus 4. This is viable. This is like temporary until you get something better. If you're pursuing horses just for some stat increase, it's good just to have, and it's like a transitional thing, so it's fine. I believe this is Anna's thing. Search Anna. Yeah, business prosperity. Okay, so plus 5 luck. Anna's a bad unit. Plus 5 luck is better than nothing. It's her passive, so I guess it's better than bad because at least it does something. It's not the best, but it's whatever. Plus 5 health. So this is commoner / noble mastery. I would say it's definitely not God tier. It's probably definitely better than this. Probably viable. It's really good early game. It starts to fall off late game when enemies start hitting absurd amounts of damage. And the main thing that keeps you alive is positioning, proper play, and like speed stat. So I would say this is exceptional early game because it prevents you from getting doubled to death like for most things. And then late game, it starts to fall off as you get more and more health, but you can still have it on a mage just to, help them prevent or like help keep them alive. So alert stance, I would say, is viable, and then alert stance. Actually, I would say alert stance is very viable, and alert stance plus is god tier. So similar to this build, if you wait with alert stance plus, it increases your avoid even more. So you can make an easy avoid tank from like any Falcon Knight with alert stance plus, and especially with this, like if you have all of these, you're basically unhittable with the high speed. So pretty ridiculous, pretty broken, pretty exploitable. Avoid tank is huge. It's really good. It's a really good thing. This is one of the Battalion ones. I think it's Battalion Vantage. Just let me confirm that. A lot of these look the same, so I want to make sure I'm reviewing the correct skill. Okay, that is not Battalion Vantage. This is Battalion Desperation. So if unit initiates combat with Battalion Endurance is less than or equal to 1/3, unit's follow-up attack, if possible, occurs before foes counterattack. So there's two conditions. One is that you can double it if you can double the opponent. So that's the first condition. The second condition is if your endurance is less than 1/3. Now, if you're playing optimally, your endurance should not be going low constantly. You should be getting hit minimally and mostly just like wiping the floor with enemies and being defensive as needed, and mostly like counterattacking and punishing enemy aggression. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is just like bad. Like I can't, it's too circumstantial to proc that often unless you intentionally leave, I don't know, your endurance low, but then if you get hit, your battalion disperses and you lose stat buffs. So you shouldn't plan around this. This is just a bad ability. It's just straight up bad. All right, this is defensive tactics. Battalion endurance takes half damage. I would say this is viable. So the reason you would want to run this is if you have a unit that's like pulling enemies and you want it to tank, and also you want its battalion to not get like dispersed. So this is a good thing for that. I'm fairly certain this is model leader. It also, I think that shares a logo. I could be wrong. With Byleth ability. So I'm going to look this up. All right, we have model leader. Let's see. There's that other ability. Is it not on here? I guess it's not on here. All right, so this is model leader, I guess. Doubles experience for battalions. There's no reason to do this. They'll level up within like 1 or 2 missions easily without you even thinking about it, so I don't think it's very good. Okay, this one, I have never seen this in game because it requires S plus authority, grants +5 might and +20 hit with gambits. In the extremely rare circumstance you can even use this ability, I would say it's, I guess, like decent. It's definitely better than this, than +5 luck. I wouldn't say it's viable because by the time you get S plus authority, you'll have access to so many better skills that why would you even bother? So, yeah, I wouldn't bother. Battalion renewal, unit recovers up to 30% of max at the start of each turn when your endurance is less than 1/3. Similar to that, I think it's just straight up bad. Because other skills exist like renewal, which just straight up heals you regardless. Up to 30% is nice, but the proc chance, like you have to either intentionally keep a battalion low or you have to be getting hit a lot. So I'm not a huge fan of it. All right, this is Battalion Vantage. Okay, so Battalion Vantage, if a foe attacks you, you attack first if your endurance for the battalion is less than 1/3. This is like okay. I mean, it's worse than Vantage, I think. Like it's much worse than Vantage. Well, in a way, it's not because you can be at high health and it can still proc. But if you're relying on things like this to win matches, you're probably going to lose on Maddening, unless you really know what you're doing and you know how to like build around things like this. Then it's just generally not very good. All right, Battalion Wrath. The foe initiates combat while your endurance is less than 1/3. Grants +50 crit. So this one can be good. I'm gonna actually put this one at very viable. Because the reward for keeping your battalion, like you could just never replenish them and just keep them at below 1/3 or like just keep them dead or whatever. The advantage of this is so huge, +50 crit, especially if you do combine it with like Battalion Vantage. So you could build, I guess you could, I'll bump this up. You could build something around these two where you have like first hit crit and just leave a low battalion. You could kind of have a cute gimmick like that because you can be full health as long as your battalion's low. So I guess I could see the upside. I guess I'll bump this up to decent because I can see you running 3 of these in unison. So you have like, if you can double them, you get Desperation, Vantage, and then the crit. You just have like either a dead battalion or a low durability battalion, so you can get like 2 times crits. So maybe that actually bumps it up to here. Like I'm kind of getting the value of these. I personally haven't used them, but I can kind of understand how you could use them. Okay, now we're getting all to the blow sections. So let's scroll on down to those, just so I have everything for reference. All right, so darting blow +6 speed when you attack. I would say that's god tier. It lets you double things on maddening mode. Very few units can double things on maddening mode. This is one of the tools combined with high speed flyers that allows you to double things. So very good. I think this one's armored blow. It could be warding blow too. They're all so similar. Let's see. Or no, armored blow is the yellow one. They're kind of split apart. If I can find it. Blow. I think this is a DLC one. It's not. Oh, here we go. All right, Duelist's Blow. If you initiate combat, it grants 20 avoid. Trickster. That's pretty good. I would say that's very viable. I wouldn't say it's god tier because doubling is better than avoiding. Avoiding is good though, so it's definitely viable. Okay, this is Armored Blow. Bad. Why is Armored Blow bad? You just get 6 defense while attacking. It's from Armored Knight, so you have to master Armored Knight, and there's like you're better off using Death Blow. Uncanny Blow, god tier. +30 hit on mages when the only problem with mages is like sometimes their accuracy is like 50 to 70%. This just like smooths that out so that you're almost always hitting with glass cannons and just nuking things and one-shotting things. Hugely good. All right, Fiendish Blow, god tier. +6 attack, magic attack when casting spells. When you use both of these, Uncanny and Fiendish, it's insane. I think this is Warding Blow. Yeah, Warding Blow, +6 res from Mortal Savant. I'm just going to say it's bad. Most things that attack mages, you're either going to double them as a Pegasus Knight with high res or a Falcon Knight with high res. You're going to shoot them out of their effective range with like a sniper, or you're going to kill them with your own mages that already have high res. So there's no reason to use this at all. And the fact that it's from Mortal Savant, it doesn't matter. It's just not good. A Mortal Savant would be much better off with Fiendish Blow or Death Blow, which is also S tier in my opinion. +6 strength while attacking. So damage increases, speed increase, and accuracy. So here's like what you want from. Let's do this. All right. If you could get your physical units, both of these, and they have enough speed that this can get them to doubling, both of these is amazing, and then your mages want this if they're attacking. These are very good. Getting Valkyrie with these, plus with the +1 range is insane. Extremely broken. All right, the breakers. All right, this one actually was removed from the game. I looked it up because I was like, I don't think there was a fist breaker, but there isn't, so this actually is removed from the game. It was never added. Axe breaker, I want to say it's viable. There's some enemies with axes that you want to use this against. It increases hit and avoid against axes while using a sword. Pretty good. Bow breaker, I'll put it in decent. I don't really see it having big value. Most archers can be smacked by a melee unit and can't counterattack because they don't have close encounter or close counter or whatever. So you're better off just smacking them. Hitting them with magic is dumb because then they can shoot you back unless you point blank mage them, but in which case you don't need hit or avoid because you're already going to hit them. So just bad. Actually, I think it's bad. Spear breaker, viable. Sword breaker, viable. Tome breakers from brawling. I guess that's okay if you're going to be brawling. Well, maybe not. Maybe you don't even need this. Because like if there's already avoid tanking and crits, you probably don't even need this. So I'm going to put this in decent. Canto, god tier. Canto is insane. Canto is the best, in my opinion, it's like the best ability in the game. Or at least one of them, obviously. Because being able to move after attacking and reposition into a safe spot is hugely useful. So, huge bit, like, huge value, really good. This is a passive. If it's from Mage, I think. If unit cannot cast fire, allows it to cast fire and twice as often. I would say it's decent. Fire is not the best spell. It's whatever. It's not bad. It's just like a class ability. It doesn't really do anything too crazy. All right, so what is this one? Some of these look so similar, like you can see here. I think this is the one that heals enemies each turn. Like they just... Oh, no, this is heal. Okay, allows unit to cast heal if heal is already available. Then it can cast it twice as often. Okay. Heal is good, viable, but you get this as a class ability, so you don't like choose to run this. I believe this is the miasma one. I'm just going to look to confirm. Here it is, miasma. Yep, allows unit to cast miasma. Miasma is already available. They can cast it twice as often. Decent, I guess. There's nothing super crazy about this. Close counter, I would say, is very viable. You would run this on an archer for the most part, in case they get hit. But if you're attacking correctly, your archer shouldn't be getting hit in melee range often. This one, I believe, is just straight up counter. So this is from the Chalice of Counterattack. Yeah, so this is an enemy ability, and also the Chalice of Beginning and certain enemies. Yeah, the Death Knight has it, for example, and the Chalice of Beginning. So this is S tier. An enemy can bolting you, and you can like counterattack them. It's insane and hilarious. So you can just like double them from across the map with your sword. So very good. Aegis and Pavis. Aegis, it like halves based on dex. I think they both have different types of damage based on dex. Aegis is like ranged magic, shit like that. Yeah, so Pavis is dex. Yeah, they're both okay. Bow and magic damage by half. Sword lance magic by half. And one's paladin, one's fortress knight. So Aegis is, I would say it's viable. It's not like the best ability, but it's good. There's like nothing wrong with it. There's no reason not to run it unless there's something better. So it's just something you can run until you get something better, much like the move +1. It's on paladin, so if you're running paladin, that can kind of help the paladin tank spam, like siege weapons and shit like that and all this stuff. So it's not bad. Pavis, I would say, is very viable because it actually can trigger on a fortress knight that's being a guard adjutant. So if you have, like, Lysithia and she has, like, Raphael being a guard adjutant and he has Pavis and she gets attacked by, like, a sword, Pavis will trigger. Or not will, but it can trigger even though he has it equipped. And that's something I've tested and confirmed it works. And it's actually quite good. Okay, next we have Defiant Avoid. I'm pretty sure that's Avoid plus... Okay, avoid +30 when HP is less than 25. So this is actually God tier because of the Bernadetta build, the Vengeance Bernadetta build, where you just get Bernadetta down to like extremely low health, and then she becomes an avoid tank with Vengeance and all this other shit. So you can make some ridiculous gimmicks off of this. This is from Falcon Knight Mastery, so it's more endgame, but it is a huge gimmick that's very effective. So you can make like almost 100% avoid tanks that crit. So it's very funny. And then you can like use some gimmicks with the battalions. I personally haven't done this, but I'm aware of these tactics. So like I know that they're effective. Next we have Defiant Crit from Wyvern Lord. Grants +50 when HP is less than... +50 crit when HP is less than 25%. So this... If you mastered both of these, if you're a Falcon Knight, you could probably master this. These two together could be extremely broken and have been proven to be so. So go knock yourself out with that. Defiant Defense, +8 defense when health is less than 25. I would say this is potentially... It's on Great Knight. That puts it down to decent. The fact that it's on Great Knight. Defiant Speed, +8 speed when health is less than 25 on Bow Knight. I don't think that's hugely useful. I guess I'll put that here. Defiant Magic on Gremory, +8 magic when health is less than 25. Not a big fan of that. The fact that it's +8 when you can just get Fiendish Blow, which is +6 without the risk, it's like, why bother? Because this build makes sense because you could easily master two classes that are both flyers. You just need, like, one needs spear, axe, and flying. The other needs sword, spear, and flying. So there's two overlapping skills, the flying and the spear. So it's not unreasonable to assume you could grind both of those out in, like, auxiliary battles or something. Like, just unequip a weapon and just let an enemy keep attacking them. You could grind that shit out in, like, two auxiliary battles, and then you have, a mastery, and then just do that for the other one, and then you have this ridiculous broken build. So you could do that. Defiant resistance, grant plus 8 res, health is below 25, and that is from Holy Knight. I think that's bad. Like, if you're a Holy Knight and you're like a mage, you probably don't need more resistance. It's just bad. This one I'm not sure what it is, so let's see. Let us learn about it. Oh, Defiant Strength. Okay, on Hero. Yeah, I don't know anyone that runs Hero. It just seems, because it's like, what's the upside? It's not, it doesn't stand out as like an insane class, and this doesn't seem very good, so I'm gonna say it's bad. Because unlike a flyer, which has mobility and like alert stance plus, like this, the plus 10, the alert stance, this all adds up to an insane build. But like this strength thing, you have to be on a hero. That's just bad. All right, next is Desperation. If you initiate combat, less than 50%, follow-up attack hits before enemies counterattack, and that's Cavalier. So I could say this is viable. This is like a stepping stone. You can equip this after you master Cav, and then you can run it on Paladin for a little bit until you get something better. There's nothing wrong with it. It could help make an aggressive play last second. All right, now we're on to the fares. These just increase damage dealt. I can't put them in God tier because they don't break the game, I guess. I suppose a faire is better than some of these because this is like conditional damage. But when you combine these with fares, I would say they're God tier. So maybe, I think Axe Fair is fair to say is God tier. This, I would say, is potentially God tier. I guess we'll put all the damage buffs, except for Bow Fair. I think Bow Fair is just very viable. This could be, I don't think this is as good as like the magic build. Like this combo with magic and plus that is insane. Like that's so much damage and range. I would say this is like here. There's not very many light spells that are good. Lysithea is the only one who has a lot, but on average this is not very good. This can be fine. This can be fine. These can all be exceptional. This stuff, I think, just increases the amount you heal. Pretty sure. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. There's like so many abilities in this game. Okay. Yeah, heal extra 5. Yeah, heal plus 5 on Priest and heal plus 10 on Bishop. So this can be useful for having a dedicated healer. So I would say these are just viable. I mean, the healing staff boosts it up pretty good, like pretty well. So it's not the best thing. It's okay. This is lethality. So this one's kind of weird. All right, lethality. It's an assassin mastery. Chance to instant kill a foe when dealing damage. Trigger equals a fourth of your dexterity. So if your dexterity is 20, for example, you'll have a 5% chance to just instantly kill something. So if you double things, that's like, 2 5% chances to kill something. If your dexterity is like, 40, then it's like a 10% chance. So it could actually be okay if you can get like brave weapons popping off, but if you're attacking with brave weapons, it's probably dead anyways. The good thing about this is I think it can kill monsters if it triggers. I would say this is viable, but it's not like really good. It's just like okay. Life Taker heals 50% of the damage dealt after defeating a foe. That's attached to Dark Bishop, so I think that's a male like only class. So you're looking at like, I don't know, Lorenz, or I think Lindhart can get it too, like any male that can be a Dark Bishop. Hubert, something like that. I would say it's viable. Like it's just like some free healing. It's fine. Lockpick, I would say, is viable, meaning that you can run it and it's fine. You know, pick some doors, pick some chests. If you're playing the game normally on Maddening, keys are so cheap that I guess honestly I'll bump that down to decent. It's not that good. Lucky 7, this is from Trickster. We just go to it. Lucky, maybe 7. Yeah, Lucky 7. Each turn grants +5 to one of the following: strength, magic, speed, defense, res, hit, or avoid. So this is like a default ability of Trickster, so I would just say it's viable. Like, you don't choose to run it, it's just always run. It's just good. Getting free stat buff that's random is better than no stat buff, so it's not the worst thing. Mastermind, this is Lysithia's personal. I'd say it's very viable. I almost want to say it's God tier, but she doesn't get too much far. It's too further ahead. Miracle is bad. Low chance to proc, very inconsistent. Nullify armor weakness, I would say is decent. Well, not really. I don't think you run into. All right, so like in normal Fire Emblem games, there's like a lot of like armor slayers, sword reavers, axe reavers, lance reavers. There's a lot of like horse slayers and shit like that. In this Fire Emblem game, in 3 houses, there's very few of these. So like this one, I think is just straight up bad because there's very few enemies that specifically counter armor weakness, and same thing with this. And it also requires that you get, I think, S or S plus for them. So let's go to these. It's like Nullify. Oops. Nullify. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's just called Null. That's right. Yeah. It's just like armor null or something. Let's see. Yeah, armored effect null. So it is S plus. So good luck getting S plus heavy armor, S plus flying, and S plus cavalry. Like, that's really hard to get. So, and I don't think it's worth equipping. Like, your flyers are so dodgy that archers should not be a problem for you. And even when they can hit you, they usually don't. They almost can never double you, and they certainly won't be one-shotting you. It's very rare, unless you're like severely underleveled. Pass. I know Bernie can get this. Apparently Anna can too. It requires riding. I would say this is very viable. It lets you fly through things too, because I think you can't fly over enemies in some cases. I don't know why that is, but all right, Serpent Strike. Or I'm sorry, Poison. Yeah, Poison Strike. Okay. All right, so this is from Dark Mage. Dark Mage Mastery. If you initiate combat and land a hit, it deals up to 20% of max HP after combat. So this is basically like Fiendish Blow, but worse, because it can't kill. It can put the lowest it can put an enemy down to is 1 health. I would say it's viable, but it's kind of annoying to get because you have to go into Dark Mage, and the things that would want it would probably be like an archer that has low damage, so it can like chip things and like, you know, get significant chunks of health off. But the fact that it can't kill, and also the method that you get it is kind of annoying. Authority Mastery. I don't know the actual name off the top of my head, but I would say this is like, it's decent until you get something better. Like, it's good to have bonus damage on your gambits until you get better masteries, but you always swap it out. So it's not bad. Like, it's viable to run for a short period of time, but you definitely swap it out once you get better shit. For these, I'm going to put very viable. I don't know if they belong in God tier. Like, I guess certain ones are different. Like this is not as good because very, very few spells that are offensive are worth bringing this for. I suppose you could run this on your healers if they have healing equipped, but my healers always have dark magic equipped, so I'd say this is for the masteries. They're all kind of very viable. You generally always run them, but they're not broken or like extremely strong. Like, the flares are definitely better, except for like these two, because this, you're running a unit that has shit mobility, so that takes it. There's no way, like, a God tier to me is like broken. Like these two combined is broken with Bernadetta, so it's like obvious, you know. Quick Riposte. Okay, so if a foe initiates combat while unit's HP is less than or equal to 50, unit makes guaranteed follow-up attack. So, and that's on War Master. So that's very circumstantial. I would say that's viable. Like just the logistics of running a War Master. Like I can't imagine having units that just run on the ground in the end game. I couldn't. I can try that in Maddening, but it just seems so bad that I wouldn't want to do it. So I mean, you can do it, but like this, I would rather do this gimmick than this gimmick. So that's just my own opinion. All right, so now we're on to the rallies. I think this first one is Rally Charm, the pink one. Let's find them. They should all be together. Okay, yeah, Rally Charm. Dorothea, Manuela, Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude. Grants +8 charm to an ally. This is actually good. I would put this under very viable. In a lot of cases in Maddening, especially if you're under leveled or doing an additional challenge aside from just Maddening, like restricting auxiliary battles, +8 charm will be a big enough difference to greatly increase your gambit accuracy. So this is actually quite good to have as like a tool to just have on like Dorothea or whoever, just rally charm someone. +8 is a significant amount of charm, so that's actually quite good. The next one, Rally Defense, Seteth and Gilbert. This one I would say is decent circumstantially, but these are time skip units, so when it would be good is early game. It's definitely not bad, but it's not really that big value. It'd be big value early game, but not in this case. Rally Dexterity, +8 dex. Ferdinand, Ignatz, Happy. It's kind of similar situation. It seems okay. Dexterity +8. I believe that just increases your weapon accuracy and crit by 4, because I think it's dex minus or divided by 2. I can double check that, but I know dexterity is not like strength where it just like scales your damage, so I think that's okay. Rally Luck. Flayn and Anna, +8 luck to an ally. This could be circumstantially useful to prevent crits because increasing luck reduces enemy crit rates on you, so that can be okay. Rally Magic, Hubert, Ingrid, Constance. I would say this is viable. This could be the difference between one-shotting something or not, like the Death Knight, for example. So that could be good early game, but it has like some use cases that I could see it being worth running until you get something better. So that's kind of what viable is. It's like run it until you get something better, or if that's you can't get something better, then you can just keep it. What's the one? Rally Speed or Rally Movement. Byleth and Annette. Rally Movement, I would say, is viable, especially if you're making a rally bot. I don't like rally bot. I would rather just have like stride. Like, why would you rally bot one movement where you can just stride your whole team? It just doesn't make sense to me. So like, I could see like it's free and you don't need to waste a gambit, so you could have a different gambit. So there's like a use case where it could maybe be a kind of good, and the fact that Byleth gets it means you always have access to it, so it could be good in some very specific circumstances. But stride exists, so probably not. So I guess it's like somewhere in between these. Rally Resistance, Annette, Hubert, Seteth, Constance. This is bad. The reason this is bad is because Pure Water exists, which gives you more resistance, and that's free, and you don't have any investment in anything. So that's just straight up trash because something exists that's better. Rally Speed, Ignatz, Annette, Hubert. I would say this is viable as well. Good for stealing items on limited playthroughs, like if you're not allowing like certain things. Good for stealing items in general. This actually can be useful in a normal playthrough if you want to steal an extra Aurora shield from Ladislava before you kill her in Chapter 16. I believe that's the chapter with the bridge. She doesn't drop it on death, but you can steal it from her. And she is very easy to aggro. So you can have like Lysithea or someone with swarms hit her for the -5 speed, get her +4 speed, get whatever unit +4 speed to steal, easily get enough speed to steal, like an Aurora shield. There's also, I think, there's quite a few items you can steal that are really good throughout the game. Not every chapter, but like every couple of chapters. So just rally speed can help push a unit over the edge to steal something, which is good. Then finally, rally strength, Raphael, Eloise, Ignatz, Balthus. Um, this one's decent. I would say it's similarly good. Boosting a unit's damage can be the difference between killing something or not. So if you have like a flyer and you want to like send the flyer out and you want to boost its damage to like, kill a boss or kill like a ballista enemy and then rescue it back or something like that, this could be useful. So definitely viable in some niche circumstances. So bow range +1. I would say this is very viable. This is a class ability. So bow range +2, also very viable. This is from Bow Knight. Actually, I want to move this down. So this seems weird because, well, why is +2 range not better? This is on Bow Knight. Bow Knight has worse growth than Sniper and it loses Hunter's Volley. So Sniper will always out DPS a Bow Knight. The Bow Knight trades damage and stat growths for range and mobility, but it tends to be inaccurate unless you have like Ignat's or Archer accuracy +20 mastered. So the reason why I say this is better is because it's associated with Sniper and this is associated with Bow Knight. So if you're running this, you're a Sniper, and if you're running this, you're a Bow Knight. And Sniper has Hunter's Volley and high crit rates and will demolish enemies with high accuracy and precision, whereas Bow Knight can pick enemies off at a range in Canto, but it's not nearly as good as Sniper, and this is like common knowledge in the game. White magic range +1, I would say is viable, mostly just on Lysithea, but her dark magic range +1 is better, or whichever, it's one of these two. So it can be viable, but this is better. These are better. These are the more offensive spells. You have more like utility spells in this, so this is usually run on a healer to increase physic range or fortify range, so it's good. Renewal, I would say, is viable. Heal 20% every turn. I think it's Bishop Mastery. Pretty good. You would replace it with something better long term, but it's not bad to have just to keep passively healing your healer. So we did have Model Leader, and I'm assuming this is the other thing, the Sacred Power. So let me see if that's even on here. All right, Sacred Power. Okay. So it says Rhea, but also Enlightened one. All right. Allies deal 3 extra damage, take 3 less damage. So I would say that's very viable. Sacred Power is a good ability. It does have the same icon as whatever the hell, Model Leader, but Sacred Power, the +3, -3 damage to all adjacent, and like combined with Professor Plus, which gives you, I think, another +2 and -2 damage. So your adjacent allies get 20% more experience, +5 damage, take 5 less damage. That's pretty good. That's very viable. It's not broken, but it's very good. Seal Defense. I think that's -5 defense. Can be achieved through a variety of effects, I'm pretty sure. Let me just get to it. It says Wyvern Rider. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so Break Shot applies an effect like this where it reduces their defense by, I think, 5. Seal Defense is from Wyvern Rider Mastery. If a unit damages a foe, that foe suffers defense -6. So I would say this is viable. It's not like very viable. The upside to it is if you can't kill and there's no way you can get lethal, you can set up the enemy to get killed by something else. But Wyvern like axes hit hard. So if you're hitting with an axe, the chance the enemy isn't below half health after getting hit with an axe is very low. So it's good until you get something better, but I wouldn't stay on it. So, all right, so that's Seal Defense. Let's look at the other seals. All right, Seal Magic. Oh, that's like a random boss. Let's look at the actual source. So Flame gets Seal Magic. It allows her to summon a seal. All right, no, it's just stupid. Okay, so foe suffers -6 magic for 1 turn. I would say this is bad. She's a healer. If she's gonna be casting on something, it's probably gonna die. She is a res tank, so this is just completely irrelevant to Flame. Seal Movement, Dimitri. Foe suffers -1 movement for 1 turn if damaged by him. This is bad. If it was like they only can move 1 square, this would be here. But because it's -1 movement, that's so dumb. Like Claude's Encloser ability just straight up lets you freeze a dude in place. So, yeah, it's not even close. It's bad. All right, what is this one? I thought we just... Or did I just do this? Or no. Or I'm sorry, that's... Okay, this is Seal Resistance. Okay. Yeah, the symbols are so similar. It's the same thing, just different colors. All right, so seal resistance. All right, who even has this? Dark Knights, okay. If unit damages the foe, -6 revs for 1 turn. This is bad. The reason for this is if you're a Dark Knight, you have Black Tome Flare, and you probably have Fiendish Blow too. So like this is basically just bad Fiendish Blow. Because it doesn't work for you, it works for the next person hitting them. So I'd rather just hit them for more up front than have someone else follow up and maybe kill them. So not a huge fan of that. Seal speed, Ferdinand and Hilda. Foe suffers -6 speed, and that's through heavy armor. This is actually good. I would say this is very viable. In Maddening, this can be the difference between doubling an enemy and being doubled by an enemy. And if you can hit a boss with this or a monster with this, you can prevent it from doubling you on counterattacks, and then your units can just go nuts and just smack the shit out of them safely without dying, without worrying about getting doubled to death. So this is a really good ability. The fact that it's on Hilda too, it also can help for stealing things, but it's just really good for doubling prevention, reducing enemy avoid, and for setting up easy kills and making an enemy less helpless or like more helpless to your attacks, to like, you know, to getting hit. Seal strength. If unit damages foe during combat, foe suffers -6 strength. That's from Ignatz. I would say this is viable. I mean, there's better things for him to run, but reducing enemy damage, like you break shot with this, they get -5 defense, -6 strength. That's pretty good. He's a solid debuff chip damage guy. So that's not bad at all. It's viable. You could run it until you get something better. This is the dancer one. Special dance. When using the dance, grant speed, dex, and luck +4. So this actually is not bad. If you're going to be running a dancer, I'd say you have to run this. You want to get this as soon as possible. Because then you dance, you reset someone and give them a buff, and then the dancer gets experience and is just getting free experience from literally nothing. Like, you don't have to waste heals. You don't have to attack enemies to get XP. You just get XP from dancing. So this actually makes sense to me that I would run this. I don't run dancer, but I could understand why. Steal, mastery of thief, allows you to steal things. You can always just spec into thief for a round or whatever. I mean, I would say this is like decent. Like you can run it just to steal some specific items every now and then. Next is stealth, makes it harder for enemies to target you. Some people have lately been posting like videos about how great they think stealth is. I disagree. I think it's actually quite bad. So it makes it harder for you to be targeted, but the specific, like what it actually says, makes it more difficult for foes to target units. So what does that actually mean? If you are, let's say there's one enemy, you have 2 units, one with stealth, one without. The enemy will always attack any other unit but the unit with stealth. That is how stealth works. So the big advantage of stealth is that you can, quote unquote, infiltrate the enemy forces as long as the enemies have another unit to be distracted by. So the practical application of stealth would be to move a unit for free without getting attacked. However, the reality is that every enemy encampment, fortress, or position that you would want to infiltrate has other enemies, and as you go further and further into the position, those new enemies will attack you if you're the only target. So the theoretical advantage of stealth, allowing you to infiltrate enemy back lines and then kill like a ballista or something, or like kill a boss, is nullified by the brutal reality that if there's not other things for them to hit, you're gonna get hit. So it doesn't let you infiltrate enemy shit. If it was an activated ability that made you invisible for 3 turns until you attacked something, that would be completely different. But the way it works, I don't think is worth it at all, and you are much better off using flyers, warp, and rescue to attack enemies at range, canto back and rescue them to safety, or to like warp rescue, or to stride a group of flyers and have them push 5 enemy units at range, killing them all, and then healing them with physic from afar. Like there's no advantage. That being said, I should put it into decent after I said all that. I don't really think it's good. I've tried using it. There's really no advantage to it. And most of the units you would put this on would be better off being evasion tanks on Pegasus Knight or Falcon Knight. So like Petra, I don't know. I don't think you'd make Leone one, but Petra and Byleth, I don't know, other units that you might put out as thief/assassin. Terrain resistance. This is a passive ability from some classes. It's fine. Transmute, I think, is bad. Why do I think it's bad? Transmute. If unit is hit with magic during enemy phase, grants +3 to all stats until next player phase. So it's so specific. You have to have the Dark Flyer get hit by magic. So instead of just killing the enemy mage, you have to like let it hit you first, and just to get like a slight buff. That's dumb. There's no reason to run that. Like when things like these exist, there's no reason to run this. This is just dumb. Unarmed. I think this is unarmed. Unarmed combat allows you to fight without a weapon. This is bad. Much better things. Like if you look at the things you can get when you spec into War Master, like like shit like this, and I don't know, like all these crits, and I mean this is passive, but like you would want like this, you'd want this, like this, strength, that, maybe one of these. Like you wouldn't want this. This is stupid. You make so much money in the game. There's no reason. ×2. This is passive, but I'm gonna put this in very viable. This is just a passive buff. Certain classes get, so like Grimoire gets this. Certain like dark mages get ×2 for these, and then certain like white mages get ×2 for these, like holy mages. I believe that's, what is that? Desperation? Oh, no, that's not Desperation. What is this? I don't recognize this one. It's another weird one. I know that I like never run. Let's see. All right, those are personal abilities. Which one is this? Battalion advantage. Desperation. Is this a personal? I have no idea what this is. Is this a cut one, maybe? This looks familiar. Like, I know this looks familiar. I just don't know what it is. Like, I can't think of the name of it. Like, I know I've seen it. Oh, okay. This is just Vantage. All right. That's right. Okay. So this is just straight up Vantage from Mercenary. Right. Okay. This is viable. It's not good. It's not, like, very viable. Being able to attack when your health... counterattack first when your health is below 50 is okay. But this is a very player phase focused game, and most of the best abilities either take advantage of some broken mechanics like these, or they take advantage of player phase by boosting damage and accuracy or speed. So most of the best things are player phase centric, like player phase oriented. So this is a more like old school Fire Emblem type thing where they just throw waves of enemies at you. They kind of suck, and then you just keep Vantage killing them on a Swordmaster. But in this case, it's meh. -3, -5. -3 I would say is viable. Reducing weapon weight can increase your potential to double. Can also make you more accurate, I believe, but I know for sure reducing weight increases your potential to double. So that one's good, and then this one's better. But the problem with getting them is that you need Armor Knight. Let's actually zoom out a bit. You need Armor Knight mastery to get them. So like if we go to the weight, or I'm sorry. Oh no, that's right. Okay, hold on. One's Fortress Knight by default. Okay, so you need A+ armor to get -5 and C armor to get -3. So they can be good to reduce weight for like axe, like Wyvern Lords to some degree, but usually your strength increasing high enough will just offset that and you'll be fine. So they can be good. The -5 can be really good, especially, but I kind of changed my mind. I feel like these are like comparable. This one's slightly better. Because getting A+ armor while being a Wyvern Lord is not easy to do. Then finally, I think this is Battalion Wrath? Or no, this is just like Wrath. Alright, so just straight up Wrath. If foe initiates combat while unit is less than 50%, grants +50 crit, Warrior Mastery. So, this one could be good. I'm going to put this under viable. This could be used with like this build. Like this could be an alternate thing with this, because in order for this to trigger, this has to be true. So you wait for an enemy to attack you. Well, I think with this, you can actually attack them. Yeah, so the cool thing with this build is you can attack enemies. Whoops. I think I just like moved a bunch of shit. Alright, let's move these back. The cool thing with this build is you can attack enemies. This one you can, like, this would be good with like alert stance. Like alert stance tank with this. And you can just wait and then enemies will just like get crit while attacking you and they'll never hit you. So it could be a good gimmick. I'd say this is better because you can actively attack with it. Whereas this one only procs off of a counter attack. So this is my list. Definitely let me know if you disagree with any of these. I'm curious to see what people think in 2022 about some of these abilities. I think overall, I mean, like maybe fists. Maybe the reality of fists is more viable than very viable because fists in general is a fun thing to do, but I don't think it's that as good as some of this stuff. Avoid plus 10 is very good. Like any avoid stuff is good. I think these are all the same. Some people might disagree with this, but the plus 30 accuracy with Lysithea, she like never misses. So it really helps take an S tier unit and put her to S plus, just to be a little bit more annoying. Canto, god tier for sure. In a player phased focused game, getting out of danger, huge. So, and then all the flares, all the offensive flares except for bow, because I think bows are just a little bit weaker. And then fists because of the implications of using fists. So yeah, here's my list. Some of the rallies are in here. Most abilities are good. And funny enough, most of the abilities that are bad are like masteries that are like really hard to get. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next one.